nicer than our sweet eggs. They ain't perfect, but they still say.
Wire Country, AM 1430, WIRE, Indianapolis.
This is the WIRE News Center at 10 o'clock. I'm Ken Owen. The Roman Catholic Church in Poland today took a strong stand against martial law authorities, accusing them of being deaf to the voice of society. The attack was made by Archbishop Joseph Glemp in a sermon at Warsaw's All Saints Church. President Reagan urged unemployed Americans to keep their spirits up today, saying more jobs are coming as his economic policies bring about recovery from the recession. In the Democratic response to Reagan's speech, Senator Bill Bradley of New Jersey said the president's policies are not showing any signs of improving the economy.
Interest rates and inflation have come down, but at what price? Businesses are failing at the fastest rate in 50 years. Over 30% of our nation's productive capacity lies idle. Most companies have slashed their capital investment budgets. So much for rebuilding America. And 11 million Americans are out of work. That's more Americans unemployed than at any time since the Great Depression.
Senator Bill Bradley of New Jersey. WIRE News Time now 1 minute after 10 o'clock. About 500 union workers and supporters marched through downtown Muncie today to protest the nation's economic problems. Reporter Brian Beaver says several politicians were also on hand for the event.
Congressman Floyd Fithian and Phil Sharp led over 500 union members and supporters on a march through downtown Muncie Saturday in protest of high unemployment rates and Reaganomics. Unions from throughout central Indiana were represented, including unions from Muncie, Anderson, and Indianapolis. At a rally following this afternoon's march, Fithian attacked Republican economic policies, calling the nation's current situation a depression. Fithian also attacked opponent Senator Richard Lugar, calling Lugar's campaign ads the most distorted series of ads he had ever seen in Indiana. Fithian says he has gradually eaten away at Lugar's leads in the polls, and he says now the next 2 weeks will determine who wins the election in November. This is Brian Beaver in Muncie.
A published report indicates Central State Hospital in Indianapolis has lost its federal Medicare funding due to substandard conditions. The report says a June inspection of the facility turned up staffing shortages, unsanitary conditions, and structural defects in the mental hospital. The hospital gets about $58,000 a year in federal aid. Police have arrested a 19-year-old Anderson man in connection with last weekend's murder and robbery of an Anderson woman. Reporter Tim Stiers says Mark Allen Weishart was apprehended this morning.
1 week ago, 61-year-old Marjorie Johnson was found just inside her downtown Anderson apartment, brutally beaten and stabbed 26 times about the face and back. Early this morning, city detectives took 19-year-old Mark Allen Weishart of Anderson into custody on charges of murder and robbery. The break in the case comes after city police seemed stymied as to any clues or motive for the late-night murder. Police could only theorize that the victim must have known her attacker, since no signs of forced entry could be found into the apartment. Neighbors confided that Miss Johnson was always extra careful and very security conscious. The suspect remains incarcerated in the Madison County Jail without bond. From Anderson, I'm Tim Stiers.
Federal officials say a proposed $33.4 million Indianapolis to Cincinnati passenger train would not be worth the expense. The U.S. Department of Transportation says the proposal falls short of requirements set by the Senate Appropriations Committee. A Notre Dame University professor says the Supreme Court's recent ruling on abortion is unfair. Reporter Scott Hoke says Dr. Charles Rice is still optimistic the Right to Life movement will succeed.
Notre Dame University Law School Director Dr. Charles Rice says the fight against the pro-abortionist movement is just beginning. Rice says the Supreme Court has recently ruled that whether or not an unborn child is a human being, it is a non-person. Rice says that ruling is the same as saying an acknowledged human being is a non-person. Rice says the basis of the Right to Life movement is to define and clarify that all human beings are in fact persons. He says the theory applies to everyone, not just unborn children. Rice is calling on churches all over the country to join in the fight for the Right to Life movement. He says he expects to see a pro-life Congress within the next 2 to 3 elections. This is Scott Hoke.
3 former employees of the CBS record and tape manufacturing plant in Terre Haute have filed suit against 7 chemical-related firms. The former employees claim the companies manufacture or distribute chemicals that are harmful to workers. The 3 say they were forced to quit their jobs because of health problems brought on by the chemicals. In Game 4 of the World Series today, the Milwaukee Brewers evened things up with a 7-5 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. The 5th game of the best-of-7 series will take place tomorrow. College football, some scores. Indiana beat Minnesota 40-21. Purdue over Northwestern 34-21. And it was Arizona beating Notre Dame today. The final score 16-13. The official WIRE weather forecast, we have a frost and freeze warning tonight. Clear and cold overnight with frost and near freezing temperatures. Tomorrow mostly sunny and cool, fair and warmer both tomorrow night and Monday. The overnight low dropping down to 32, the high tomorrow 60, Monday's high 70 degrees. Currently in Indianapolis under clear skies, we have 42 degrees. This is Ken Owen in the WIRE News Center.
Fine news. 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, Dave Cowell here on WIRE.